Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon, where I'll be talking about the movies, of course, their merchandising, TV shows, I don't know, what have you. If it's related to Disney in any shape or form, then yes, of course, I'll be talking about it. So here we are, I reckon. Anyway, so I just thought I'd just go into one of these type of videos, which I haven't made in a good little while. And yes, of course, that comes into movies that were supposed to have been made but weren't for whatever reason, like lost cinema kind of a thing. So yes, like I said quite a few times before, not even Walt Disney, the company, is immune to this. And this could be a number of different reasons, as I mentioned before, maybe creative decisions, maybe financial problems, or maybe being placed on hold far too often. Bottom line is that there could be a number of different reasons as to put a halt on a movie in its production. Anyway, the thing is that, folks, don't be thinking that, oh yeah, you got your film made. That's a clear indication you get what you want. No, sadly, that doesn't mean you're out the woods just yet. It has been done before, where a movie was actually filmed, edited, and everything else, and the company, it could be any company really, not just Disney, but just any company could still put the plug, which has happened before, unfortunately. Clearly, this could also affect video games as well. Yes, even video games are not immune to this whatsoever. It just comes off as it is not to be guaranteed, even if you made a some project. Battlefront 3 is a prime example of that. I'm saying Star Wars, something Star Wars related because Disney has made Star Wars. Why there was a released game for Battlefront 3, but it's not the original version of it. But point being, games are not immune to this whatsoever. Unfortunately, this animated film will be the focus of today's video because it could have been good for you know. It could have been good, and it's the thing that is kind of frustrating because it makes you wonder what could have been. Yeah, this was an unproduced animated short for which two different story treatments were drafted during the 1940s. So this goes way back. So yeah, they were trying to do a thing here with this short little thing. Shortly after World War II, the story has been reworked, of course, and there's going to be some kind of a story that they wanted to tell. And that's the thing, though. And the thing is that this was going to be an original tale that would have had a princess as a focal point. So yeah, this was actually going to be a story that they were planning to do. It's going to be a princess themed kind of a story, actually. Yes, it was something they really wanted to do at the time, but one thing or another, something got in the way. It's going to be based on this book, by the way, folks. So they want to do their own version, I reckon. Even though they already did their own version after a while. But okay, like that's not confusing. So in this one, where it's going to focus upon this little girl, and she had the ability to travel through time using this magical grandfather clock kind of a thing, and then through for time traveling, doing said adventures, she would encounter various supernatural beings, including a leprechaun. Yeah, really. And yes, even each individual month of the year would have been its own character in said movie as well. And okay, there's that. And even Mother Nature, along with her, I guess, everyone else, like the Earth elements, would be a character as well in this kind of a thing. So that's one of the versions. And the other version I've mentioned is that the other one I just said that was going to be based on a book. It's going to be that version. And in that version, the little girl will be in a palace and kitchen maid who bore a striking resemblance to somebody, this Spartan princess. So that's like two different versions I would be talking about. The one book I just showed you a moment ago, and the other version would have something to do with time traveling. As far as I'm concerned, Disney could have gone either way. The version that was based on the one book where the characters could have just done a switcheroo. The poor character would be in the rich person's place, and the rich person would be in the poor person's place. I feel like you could, and then you could use that as a storyline, like I was saying, or the whole time traveling thing. I feel like the Disney could have just done either way, of course, when it comes to these two different versions. Even though the whole time travel thing would have been a really painstaking thing to do, because usually time travel type stories are complicated to do, and yes, a lot of the time films do get it wrong, of course. So maybe the other one could have been a better chance of making a halfway decent short, but I don't know, whatever it gets. So this just makes you wonder what could have been. So there's that. So if this, since this going to be done by doing the 40s, I guess you can say that this would have been in a lot of ways done in hand drawing, and this is the concept art, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. So yes, this would have been during the time where the whole World War II thing was being a thing. And yes, before anyone asks, by the looks of things, that's what got in the way. And yes, during this period of time, Disney, the company, and Walt Disney himself, when he was alive, was suffering through a lot of financial problems. Of course, it almost cost them, and again, no pun intended. Yeah, it literally almost cost them the business. So by the looks of things, this could have probably been the cause of what made them stop. Of course, because the whole war thing, two thing. Not a lot of people were seeing their movies at the time because they were either too busy with the war or something in regards to the war. And one way or another, that's got in the way. So unfortunately, it never came through. It never went to. It never fully materialized. If anything, if that's not the case, it probably would be because of the fact that the audience at the Disney films were usually adults. Funny enough, they didn't think a story centered on a small child would work. So if anything, that's probably what got in the way. If it wasn't for the World War II stuff, it probably just that. They just the people at the time figured that having a story centered on a little girl would not work because adults cannot relate to a little girl. Like, what do they have in common with a little girl? So having a little girl as the main character, they felt it wouldn't make sense because of that. They want the audience to relate to the little girl, of course, but they can't. There's a big age gap, so they felt like that's gonna be impossible. So, if anything, that was the reason they never met. It was because of that. I mean, yes, they were financially struggling during that time. Yeah, they were, but it just seems like ultimately it was because of the fact that the age difference. It's not because the audiences, but it's a good chunk of them, if not entirely, as a good chunk of adults were watching Disney stuff at the time. I mean, they still do it to this very day. So the people behind this animated short felt that that was the reason they shouldn't have done it. If you ask me, that seems kind of stupid. If you ask me, but whatever, I guess. Anyway, I do feel like they could go back to this. They could maybe they should go back to work on this project because instead of just remaking everything, they should go back to the older projects that was supposed to be made but weren't. I mean, we have better technology nowadays. Making movies in this day and age is far more easier than back then. And literally everybody can make an attempt to make movies, of course. So it should be even easier for a company that has like a truck ton of money to actually do it. So I don't understand what's stopping them now to actually do this, pick this project up and do it now, literally right now, this very second. So what's stopping them? I don't know. I don't know. This seems a lot confusing if you ask me. All right, slight rant over. Let me just wrap things up. Alrighty. But I think that time traveling version could work if done properly because we already had different version of that one story already. With the poor person switch places with the rich person, we already had stories like that already. That has been done quite a few times. But with the lure going to time traveling, it does seem somewhat better. Anyway, that'll be for now, folks. So of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Next time, see ya. Oh yeah, later.